Hi guys. I'm gonna try to answer all three prompts as in the 4 minutes allotted, but sorry if it goes a little over time. But I actually really enjoyed the Sharon case study because I am really interested in emotional behavior disorders, and this kind of gave me a little bit of like a glimpse into that world. So the first prompt was, what would the effect of identifying and placing Sharon in a self-contained classroom for students with learning disabilities be on her academic weaknesses? So one of her academic weaknesses that this brings up, or that I mentioned that she had in my worksheet, was that she hates authority. Um, and that kind of goes along with what I think in the book is oppositional defiant disorder. So oppositional defiant disorder says that these learners are described as being angry, irritable, argumentative, defiant, and vindictive, particularly in responding to authority figures. And I personally believe that Sharon has a little bit of ODD. So I think that being in a self-contained classroom, because it's such a smaller class compared to Gen Ed, there's a lot more attention on each student. I think that might be a negative effect in that respect, because she might just get super angry that someone's being an authority figure all the time. But that being said, she is, one of her weaknesses that I put is that she's involved in adverse activities like drugs, keeping class. At the end of the case study, it said she ran away. That, I think, puts it into perspective that one-on-one with Sharon might be a good thing because there's more eyes on her. So it's kind of like a balance of one-on-one is bad because she hates authority, and one-on-one is good because she has more eyes on her, making sure she doesn't participate in activities that she shouldn't be participating in. I don't know if that's like a long answer, but there's like good and bad effects on having a self-contained classroom. The second prompt was, does it matter if the teachers know that Sharon meets the criteria for a student with learning disability? Explain. I think it's really important that they consider that, because I feel like perhaps a lot of her maladaptive behaviors, which the book explains that a maladaptive behavior is kind of behaviors that students have developed because of probably traumatic events, that aren't really good behaviors, but they're just how they adapt to their environment that was kind of negative. So anyway, I think that a lot of her behaviors come from the fact that she has a little bit of a hard time learning, and she has a normal IQ. In fact, it's pretty gifted IQ, 124 I think it was, and I think gifted is like 120, starts at 121. So that could mean that she has a learning disability because her IQ is in normal range. She does struggle with things like achievement tests. It's kind of hard to figure out though because she is resistant to tests, but it's important for them to remember that she has a learning disability, because I think that it plays a huge role in how she behaves, why she's so defiant, why she runs away, why she skips school, because she might just be skipping school because it's difficult for her and no one's understanding what's hard for her. And then the last question was, did the knowledge of the classification have any effect on the intervention plan developed by the team? Well, I thought it was interesting because, hold on, I need to flip to I'm flipping back and forth, which is making the video kind of long. Sorry, guys. I thought it was kind of interesting because the RTI, I feel like took a little bit of a long time for them to get to, because it said in the book that they didn't really even consider her for, it says, but it wasn't until Sharon was caught with drugs on the school grounds that her case was finally scheduled for formal consideration. I think that that played a big role in how that they decided to finally formally classify her. I don't know. This question, I feel like, can be answered in a lot of ways, because when I think of the intervention plan, I think of RTI and how they were kind of late to responding to her deviant behavior because she did not work well independently. She didn't even come to class a lot of the time. But then when I also think about the intervention plan, I think about the fact that they put her in a self-contained classroom for learning disabilities, which I think might be a little restrictive for her, considering I feel like I associate, I don't know, I just think that her classification of having a learning disability, I feel like they weren't considering her emotional problems as well. I feel like they were almost too much considering her emotional problems and ignoring the learning disability. There was like a hard balance on her placement. I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys think, because I don't know if I necessarily agree with how the team handled this, but yeah.